Manchester City versus Chelsea FA Cup semi-final preview. So I thought I'd do something a bit different today. I'm going to do my all-time Manchester City versus Chelsea combined 11. Because if I did the current squads, it would be quite one-sided in our favour, so I thought I'd do this instead. If I am a bit sniffly, it's because I've still got a bit of a cold, but it's not as bad as it was, say, on the Wednesday. So let's get into this. Goalkeepers. 4 options here. Ederson, Courtois, Hart, Cech. I'm going to go for Petr Cech because longevity and in terms of the Premier League, he's probably had the best career. But if it was all time, it would have been fairly close between him and Courtois. But because it's Premier League based, I'm going to go for Petr Cech. And Hart and Ederson were good as well, but I'm going to have to go for Cech, to be fair. Unfortunately, from a City perspective. Right back, Kyle Walker. It's close between him and Azpilicueta, but I'm going to shade Kyle Walker. Centre-backs, there's a few options. John Stones is up there. Ruben Diaz is up there. Carvalho's up there. John Terry's up there. But I've picked John Terry and Vincent Kompany because they're both great leaders and they were both great captains for their 2 clubs. And in my personal opinion, out of all the options that I've chosen, the 2 best ones. Left back, City have been quite short there, so I'm going for Ashley Cole. Because I think we've had a few good left backs here and there, like Cancelo and Benjamin Mendy, and Gael Clichy was decent as well, but I don't think any of our left backs were on the level of Ashley Cole, if I'm being brutally honest. In the midfield, starting with the first central midfielder, I'm going for Kevin De Bruyne. Manchester City legend, in my personal opinion, our best player ever, and in my personal opinion, yeah. I know a lot of people will say, like, Aguero, David Silva, but in my personal opinion, he's our greatest player. And alongside him, Frank Lampard. He obviously played for both clubs, scored against Chelsea for City, but his best days were at Chelsea, if we're being brutally honest. And one of the best Premier League midfielders, up there with KDB and Steven Gerrard, in my personal opinion. And Paul Scholes, but I'm going to go Frank Lampard alongside Kevin De Bruyne. And then the CDM, there's a few options for this one. Makelele, Rodri, and N'Golo Kante. Makelele, I didn't really see a lot of him, but from what I heard, he was very good and world-class. Kante was world-class for at least 3, 4, maybe something like that seasons, but I think in terms of like attacking wise, he didn't have as much to his game as Rodri. And I think Makelele, you can maybe argue, was a bit better than Kante as well. Kante, great player, don't get me wrong, and likeable player as well. I don't think anyone can really say a bad word about him. But I think he was a great defensive midfielder because of his defensive ability and stamina and physical presence. But in terms of like goals and assists, I know that's not the be-all and end-all of football, but I think in the modern era of football, getting goals and assists, regardless of where you play, is important. And it is close between Rodri and Makelele, but Rodri does the most out of any of these 3 in the final third. So I'm going to go with him because he can pass the ball, he can shoot, He can make tackles. He's the complete package of a CDM. And I think it's only Casemiro and Busquets that you could maybe argue are better than him of this era. And then the front three for me. Right wing, it was close between Sterling and Riyad Mahrez for City, but I've gone for Raheem Sterling. Because I'm pretty sure, other than Aguero, he's one of our leading goal scorers. And he might have had a few finishing problems here and there when he was at City, but more often for City he was quite consistent, and he did get a lot of stick from the fan base quite undeservingly. So I hope we don't boo him at the game tomorrow. But I'm going to go with Raheem Sterling for the right wing spot, because I really did like him when he was at City and he was one of my favourite players. So fair play to him, no hard feelings, Raheem Sterling. And it's the Manchester City Sterling, not the Chelsea Sterling. And then on the left wing, Eden Hazard, one of the best Premier League wingers, up there with the likes of Salah, Ronaldo, Bale, Giggs. He might have faded off a bit after Chelsea when he went to Real Madrid, but because this is purely Premier League based, he still gets into this 11. And I don't think there's anyone really on that side that could give him like much competition for that spot in the team. And then up front, it's between Drogba and Aguero. I know Haaland's done very well, especially last season, but he doesn't make the cut, and it's Sergio Aguero. Because most goals against the top six, most goals by a non-British player in the Premier League. I know a lot of people say that some of the time in the Champions League he didn't do a lot, but this is just Premier League based, and well, not just Premier League based, but it's the English sort of competitions based. It's not like based in. Well, it is based in it all, but because it's for an FA Cup game, I'm taking what the players have done in England more than anything else. Like disincluding like their country or anything like that. So I'm gonna go for Aguero up front. And then for the managers, it's between three: Ancelotti, Pep Guardiola, and Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho probably did have one of the best Premier League teams with the 0405 team. Pep's had quite a few teams. He's had the Formidables, the treble winners, the Centurions, and probably out of all the styles, he's massively clear of all of the managers that he's in contention for this spot in the team. So I'm going to go for Pep Guardiola, the best manager of all time in my personal opinion. And who I think's the bigger club, City or Chelsea? I'm going to go for City because because pre-money, City were better than Chelsea. We've got more Premier Leagues than Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea might have done a bit better domestically, but I think you've got to also look at the complete package, like not just of like domestically leagues or anything like that. You've got to look at like the whole history of both teams, and I think City has a better history than Chelsea, because if you actually look into the history, City were more successful than Chelsea before both clubs were bought. So I'm going to go for Manchester City as the bigger club, because I only think Manchester United and Liverpool are bigger than Manchester City in this country. So I know Arsenal's up there as well. I would put Arsenal above Chelsea, because I did used to think that... Pardon me, just take a little drink. Got lemonade over it. I did used to think Chelsea were bigger than Arsenal, but if you actually look into the history of both clubs, then you actually realise, discounting the Champions League, Arsenal's the bigger club because they've got more trophies, like more legends and like more fans worldwide. And my score prediction for the game, Manchester City versus Chelsea. I'm going to the game, so I will like record like bits and bobs from the game. So it's going to be a good day. Massive game. We need to get a reaction after that Madrid defeat on penalties. I think we will win. It's going to be a tight match, but I think Manchester City will win 2-1. Phil Foden scoring 2 goals for City. And I think for Chelsea, it's going to be Cole Palmer. I don't know whether he's going to celebrate, because I remember in the 4-4 game at the Bridge, Jackson was trying to get him to celebrate and he weren't really having much of it, but we're going to have to see. I do sort of like, looking back on us selling him, I do sort of think selling Cole Palmer was a mistake, because I think at this moment in current time, he's a more complete player than Jeremy Doku, who we replaced Palmer with. So in time, Doku could get to that level, but it's going to take time, I think, because he's a bit one-dimensional at the moment. We've got to make sure we get the first goal tomorrow, because when Chelsea got the first goal at the Etihad, it suited them really well, because they had a game plan to stick to, and from what I remember of the 1-1 draw at the Etihad, it took us to like the 82nd minute, maybe the 83rd minute to get the equaliser. So I hope Chelsea don't score first, because then that'll be really beneficial for them, because then they'll have a game plan and something to hold on to, and it's going to be really hard for us to break them down. So scoring the first goal tomorrow, in my personal opinion, could be massive in terms of who wins and who goes out on the day. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you are going to the game from Manchester or wherever you're going from, have a safe trip and have a nice time. And come on, City, let's get the victory. Come on, the Blues.